Hi guys, it is April from Getting Huggo with It. Today I'm doing a Big Ol Unhaul. This is always so freeing to me. There's something so good about unhauling books. So I have a little rule for myself that the books that are on my shelves are either books that I haven't read, like the majority, let's be honest, are books that I haven't read. And then anything that was 3 stars or below to me gets kicked off of my shelves. 4 and 5-star books can totally stay. So many of these are books that I just didn't absolutely love. That doesn't mean they're horrible books, but they just weren't for me. They didn't reflect me. So let's get into it. Okay, first up is a book that kind of drove me insane, if I'm being honest. It's The Time Traveler's Wife. I found this really kind of pompous, if I'm being honest. I didn't like the characters at all. I really struggled with this. I thought I was going to like this a lot because it does deal with miscarriage, and I read this soon after my miscarriage, and I thought, oh, you know, I'm gonna see myself in this, and I did a little bit, but the characters were so frustrating that I really didn't enjoy that. This is also about time travel, which I have always struggled with. Every single time I read about time travel, there's just something that just doesn't work for me nearly every time. Anyway, so goodbye to The Time Traveler's Wife. I'm also saying goodbye to The House Swap by Rebecca Fleet. The premise of this was so good. It's about a couple who go and stay at a house where they just kind of rent the house, and things at the house start being a little bit strange for the woman in this book, Carolyn. She starts seeing flowers that are definitely her favorite flowers. She starts hearing music that remind her of a certain time of her life, and she thinks that someone's in the house or stalking her in some way. I just wasn't blown away by this. This could have been much better. It really didn't reflect me at all, and it's just not the kind of thriller that I want to read. So sadly, that's got to go. I've also got to get rid of The Boy at the Keyhole. Now this is good if it is very gothic. It feels gothic. And so that's good. But I was bored for the majority of this. This is about a little boy whose mother has kind of disappeared. She up and left to go to America to take care of business. I think this takes place in the early 20th century. His dad is dead, and he's starting to think that the housekeeper actually killed his mom, and that's who's taking care of him. So he has a lot of suspicion, and it's an interesting premise again, but it just didn't work for me. So that's gonna go as well. This one was a shocker for me. Snowflower and the Secret Fan. I thought I was going to love this, by Lisa C. And I didn't. I wasn't blown away by it. I wanted to like it a lot. I did really enjoy the beginning of it where they're talking about foot binding. I know that's a very disturbing experience and a disturbing thing to enjoy reading about, but I thought it was so well detailed, and I really felt like Lisa C. did her homework with this book, specifically in that area. But I just felt like there was never, ever, ever any hope for these girls. It just felt just like, and then something worse happened, and then it got worse, and like, life does happen that way sometimes, but I just wanted a moment where I could come up for breath and feel like, oh, things are gonna be okay, but no, there was no okay. This next one I'm getting rid of, The Given Day, only because I found a nicer copy. This one was super tattered, like not looking its best. So I found a new version that I like, so I'm gonna get rid of that one. Oh boy, Our Kind of Cruelty. This was fine. This is very much in the vein of You by Carolyn Kepnes. But it's about a man stalking his ex-girlfriend who's getting married, and he's like, no, it's just part of our game, which was called The Crave. And the word crave is in here so often that I kind of I cringed every time the word crave came up. And I didn't think it was the most amazing writing I've ever read. So I had to say goodbye to that. I also am definitely saying goodbye to The Year of Wonders. I listened to this on audiobook. I didn't finish it. I DNF'd it because it was so bad. The audio was just awful. This is about the plague. Very dismal topic, but I don't shy away from depressing topics. It was the audio, which was narrated by the author, Geraldine Brooks. In the future, Geraldine, please don't narrate your own. I'm sure she's a lovely person, but I think a narrator needs to really bring the story to life, and I found it was very monotoned, and I just couldn't do it. One book I totally thought I had already gotten rid of, but I then found it on my shelves, is You Came Back by Christopher Koch. This is a ghost story about a man who loses his son, and the woman who has bought the old house where he lived with his family is starting to see the son in the house. And that sounds kind of scary, but it also sounds really sad, and I don't know what it is. I thought I had already gotten rid of it, and I didn't have any hard feelings about that. And when I found it on my shelves, I was like, well, I should get rid of it then if it really isn't calling me. So that's gotta go. Oh my God. I got so much hate from my hate for Ready Player One. I think I got something like 15 dislikes on my wrap-up video where I talked about this. I really didn't like this book at all. Everyone knows Ready Player One. It's so popular. But yeah, I found it sexist, and I wasn't a fan, so goodbye to Ready Player One. It's kind of sad because I brought this like brand new from Amazon. I was so excited. I was like, for sure I'm gonna love this book, and then I didn't like it, but what are you gonna do? Another book I sadly had to DNF was Dracul. I thought again that I was gonna love this. This was blurbed by so many amazing authors like Riley Sager, R.L. Stine, John Saul, Josh Malerman. I thought this was very poorly written. This is a Dracula retelling. It takes place at Bram Stoker's childhood and throughout his life, and it's him writing Dracula, and it's also about his nanny, who I think was a vampire. But I DNF'd it because I really wasn't enjoying it. I'm very sad to say, because I, again, had such high hopes for this, and like I wanted to read it at Halloween and to start off Halloween right, and it started it off really badly. Another book I'm getting rid of is A Mother's Reckoning, Living in the Aftermath of Tragedy by Sue Klebold. Sue Klebold is the mother of Dylan Klebold, who was one of the shooters at Columbine. This was definitely a hard one. I listened to it on audiobook, and this is one of those very few books that I gave a half star for. So I gave this 3.5 stars. I'm getting rid of this because I could not imagine myself ever wanting to reread this, and I felt like I really struggled with Sue. Like I feel awful for her. At the same time, I felt like she still isn't fully able to be open to what her son did, which, you know, maybe she could never really be open to it because it was her son who did this awful thing. Yeah, I really can't have this on my shelves. Even holding it, I'm getting frustrated. So I'm gonna let that go. Another book that I actually found a new copy for, thank goodness, is The Power of One by Bryce Courtney. This is so tattered. It's really not looking hot. So I found a lovely paperback edition of this, and I can't wait. Now that I've got the paperback, like, there's something in me that really wants to read it, like, pronto. So there's that. I'm also getting rid of Rising Strong by Brené Brown. This is perfectly fine. I just wasn't pulled in the way that I was with The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown. If you're struggling with any issues of self-confidence, I so recommend that you pick up The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown. I would like to reread it, to be frank. So yes, I'm going to pass this on, maybe reread Gifts of Imperfection. Okay, another book. Obviously, it's another book. I'm going through books. The Wonder by Emma Donoghue. Now, so many people love this book. Like, I could totally see many people having The Wonder as, like, some of their favorite reads of 2018. I just wasn't drawn into the characters. The storyline was so slow to me. Nothing happened for the first, like, 100 pages. And sometimes that works. Like, in Sarah Waters' The Little Stranger, nothing scary happens for the first 100 pages, but you're so entranced by the characters and the setting and all of these things that it keeps you reading. And so I don't need my books to have, like, major plot twists and stuff happening in the first 100 pages, but I'm telling you, I was bored. And I was bored until the last chapter. So I think it just wasn't the book for me. It was well written, like, it's Emma Donoghue, and I feel kind of sad because she's Canadian and I want to support her, but I just didn't get on with this book. Okay, another book that I'm getting rid of, but only because I found a better copy, is The Snow Child by Ewan Ivey. This is sadly waterlogged. I don't know if you can see, it's all bumpy on the back, and the other copy that I found is, like, in pristine condition. Like, it looks like nobody read it at all. And so I'm gonna pass this along. Hopefully someone else will want to read that. Okay, and the last one is Stiff by Mary Roach, which was very interesting, about what happens to dead bodies when you are donated to science. So when you donate your body to science, this is an interesting book to read. It's very fascinating, but I thought this was just about dead bodies and, like, what happens to a dead body after we're dead. I think that's fascinating, and I really was there for that story, and I wouldn't have minded a chapter about, like, what happens to your body if you donate it to science. That would have been fine, but it was a whole book just on that. Also, trigger warnings for animal references to, like, you know, they will talk about what they would test dead bodies on, and then if dead bodies weren't available, they would test these things on animals, alive or dead. The alive parts I really didn't want to sign up for. I didn't sign up for. No. So it was fine, but not something I need on my shelves. For reading this, a lot of people said, oh, you should have read Smoke Gets in Your Eyes instead. So that's fine. Like, I'm glad to have read it, but now I'm gonna read Smoke Gets in Your Eyes for sure. So that's my unhaul. I'm really happy to get stuff off of my shelves, to make more room. That's always a good feeling. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if you have unhauled anything recently and felt just relieved. I usually feel relieved when I'm doing these videos, so I should do them more often. Anyway, I hope you're doing well, and I will talk with you soon. Okay, bye! Barry, do you want me to actually put your bomb on camera one day? Because I can just switch it around. You know that, right?